Hi guys, today we're taking a look at the potential airdrops on Ethereum Layer 2s, namely Scroll and Linea. As you know, the Bitcoin ETF approval in January has caused a start of a massive rally, and the logical step is ETH ETF now. Van Eck has already applied for the ETF application, and we are waiting May 23rd for SEC's decision on this. But in the meantime, we have some really important updates for Layer 2s as well. Namely, we have proto-danksharding upgrade for Ethereum, which will allow for more efficient data storage, allowing 90% of transaction costs to actually be reduced. Therefore, we're focused on Scroll and Linea today. Really quick refresher regarding Scroll. They are an Ethereum Layer 2 scaling solution that was one of the first to start utilizing something called zero-knowledge proofs, which is essentially a technology allowing for consensus to happen with maximum data efficiency and maximum privacy. Regarding funding, they have raised over $100 million in seed rounds, led by the likes of Polychain Capital, Sequoia China, and others, currently valued at around $2 billion, which is actually crazy considering that DeFi Llama has 52 million in total value locked that has reported. Now, their official website says 130 million, so probably the number is somewhere in between. But taking a look at whole of DeFi, which is almost 100 billion right now, we can see that Scroll might just be one of those things that's just flying under the radar slightly. And as always, the best way to stay in touch with the updates for Scroll is on their official Twitter. And they also have an ecosystem page built with Scroll, where you can see the weekly updates for their latest integrations on their mainnet. Now, if we're taking a look at some of their ecosystem, you can see that they're deployed on many famous dApps such as Aave, KyberSwap, Sushi, and others. But the more easy way to actually take a look at this for me is on DeFi Llama, where you can see the TVL categories, and there you see some old favorites such as SyncSwap, Layerbank, EasySwap, and others. We will be using these today, mainly because they are multi-chain and they are also deployed on Linea for later. They also have Ambient, which have a points program, and they don't actually give you any rewards for using the platform other than points. So if you're going to the biggest one, which is 21 million in TVL, just keep that in mind. And regarding dApps we can use on Scroll, you have the famous and classic SyncSwap, so you can simply swap your tokens on their interface. You can also provide liquidity in their pools. The best way to do this is you see the APRs that they are giving, and if you don't want to deal with impermanent loss, I recommend using a stable pair such as USDC, USDT, which you can get to a whopping 30% on a stable pair. Pretty all right. Now, next one we have Layerbank. You can simply deposit your ETH, USDC, or wrapped staked Ether and earn a really nice, even triple-digit APR regarding this looping strategy. But keep in mind it's a little risky considering that this system automatically borrows and deposits and loops the whole process several times. So there's a small risk of a depeg or liquidation, but again, you always manage your risk accordingly. And lastly, we have Izumi Finance. They also have something called iPoints, which is a really interesting incentive that every time that an airdrop on Scroll eventually happens, potentially in the future, they will also award their users a percentage of that. But it's literally the same thing. You have pools, even farms, and here you can earn some extra APY on your deposits. Lastly, we have the Scroll quests, which were actually live for one whole day, and then they decided to just suspend these activities. But of course, if you've done any activities in that one day, your progress is recorded, and sometime in the future, we will likely have a continuation of these Scroll quests. Now, moving over to Linea, as you know, they're an Ethereum Layer 2 scaling solution backed by Consensus, a company that is behind MetaMask. And they have raised a whopping 600 plus million in funding, and they have only about 100 million in total value locked, making them another very interesting concept for farming. So the dApps we used before, they are also deployed on Linea, so you can literally just change the chain to Linea on all of the mentioned dApps and repeat the very similar farming process we did before. A really cool upgrade for Linea as well is that they have created a Alpha version 2, which reduces the gas fees by 90%, which is amazing because they actually had really huge gas fees compared to other layer 2s. You could pay usually $1 to $3 for every transaction. And then, like, what's the difference between Ethereum and Linea at the end of the day, right? So this is a really good upgrade. And they also have something called Linea Park, which is a 6-week campaign that will allow you to explore the Linea ecosystem and get some rewards along the way, namely Linea XP, which will likely, just as Manta had their Manta Fest and the conversion of points from Manta Fest was directly tied to Manta tokens, LXP, where Linea Experience will probably have some ties to Linea token in the future if they end up launching it. One thing to note regarding Linea is that they are really big on anti-Sybil filtering, so most of their campaigns and quests will have a proof of humanity included, which is both a good and a bad thing, obviously. Now, if you want to actually take part in this, it has started on February 20th, and there is every week you will have a base quest and a bonus quest. Base quest will be active for all of the 6-week period, but bonus quest you have a time limited of 1 week to actually complete it. They are very interestingly created because you can see they're kind of gamified. You have a first week, which is after you have the admission, of course, where you do your proof of humanity. The first week is focused on RPGs and MMOs, and then there's other sections of the park that are interestingly created. This whole thing ends on April 1st, so if you're going to take part, do so earlier rather than later. And lastly, you also have a dashboard called linea.build activations, where you can see other areas where you can find their campaigns, but primarily you want to focus on the ones that give you experience. So you can filter it like this here, and you can see there's Linea Park and something called Live Finance Apollo campaign as well. And that's a wrap on all the topics for today. Keep in mind we have a private Discord where we discuss these topics in further detail, such as dedicated Linea and Scroll channels, and it has been a source of really great alpha over the last couple of weeks and months. If you find the content valuable, consider liking and subscribing. For any questions, I'm waiting for you in the comments below. And till next time, have an amazing day.